Hello all, welcome back to Be a Creative. So I watched the Tim Holtz demo the other day where he showed his distress crayons with the, what's it called, distress embossing glaze, and he was showing like how they work together. And my first instinct was, I wonder what the Dina Wakley Scribble Sticks would do, because he said that the distress crayons really worked well with them, but his inks didn't. They would just wipe right off. So I got out a couple of my Dina Wakley products and decided to test it out. And I think that the tags, these are basically test tags. I don't know, I really liked it. I thought it was really cool. So I have her Interesting Faces stamp set, and I'm stamping down on just a plain manila tag with some Stays On ink. I figured Stays On would work best under the embossing glazes. I was correct, though I haven't tried it with anything else. So if you do try it with something else, let me know. I'm using the just a regular embossing pad because I can't get the dauber to work. And that is the Distress Glaze in Weathered Wood. When I have the whole set, and I picked colors, basically primary colors, because I figured when I laid the Scribble Sticks down over top of it, it was going to change a little bit. This is the only time of the 3 tags that I left in the actual embossing because I wanted to show it. Also, you can see as I'm heating it that the Stays On is getting brighter underneath the embossing glaze, and I thought that was really cool because I've never used any type of embossing glaze product before. I don't know if that's typical or not, or if that's a property that's unique to the Tim Holtz Distress things. I don't know, but it was cool. So I did notice that I needed to kind of like go back a couple times and emboss it, and I don't know if that's a problem with my heat gun or the fact that I'm using the embossing pad. Regardless, it's user error. So I have the Dina Wakley Scribble Sticks, and this is the second set, and I'm laying down Cheddar with just a little bit of water. Like, I'm lightly dipping it into that little cup, and then I'm using my finger to smudge it around, clearly. And once it dries, they don't move, but the glaze kind of like tints it a little bit, which is why I picked the primary color glazes. I didn't want to make mud. That'd be crap. But the effect is really cool, and the camera doesn't show it really well, but the texture on the tag from the embossing glaze is awesome. Like, it's just this cool thing. I don't know. I really liked it. So then I wanted to see if you could stamp right over top of it, and you can, though I didn't get the best impression. Again, that's user error. That's because, like I said, I had to go over the embossing a couple of times because I kept missing spots. So where the E is messed up, that's what that is. I just missed a spot, and I wasn't really bothered by it. I wasn't going to certainly like remake the whole tag just because of that. For the second tag, I wanted to try laying down the glaze first and then stamping over top of it and then using the Scribble Sticks. I wanted to see if that changed anything. It did. You'll see in a minute. So this is the embossing glaze in Tattered Rose, because I was a little scared to try with like a really bright color, and I don't know, I've been feeling like this vintage vibe here lately, so I just needed a change. So that's another face from her Interesting Faces stamp set, and this time I'm going to stamp right over top of it. The stamp moved a little bit, and that's because the glaze, I think, gives it almost like a waxy, no, maybe not wax, like a, what is the word? It's enamel. It's almost like an enamel. So I would always stamp first if you're going to do this. Now I've decided that I'm going to put a whole bunch of different colors down in quadrants over this lady's face. That's blushing, and I just really liked how it looked over top of that glaze. That's again with the Cheddar, because Cheddar is amazing. If Cheddar was lotion, I would rub it all over my body. It's incredible. That is Ocean. And again, the color was actually really, really great over top of the embossing glazes. I just wish that I had laid down more of it because I accidentally wind up wiping some of it off. That is Evergreen. And while that color also worked really well over top of the glaze, I felt like it was a little too bright, so I went back in with some olive scribble stick, and it was like the perfect shade of green. So what I've noticed with these is as long as they're still wet, you can move and manipulate them over top of the embossing glaze. But once they dry, that's it. You're done, folks. That's all she wrote. It's not coming back up, which I think is really awesome if you consider all the implications of how this can be used in your art. I think this is my favorite tag. It had like that quadrant gave it like that pop arty feel. I don't know. So here's the third tag that I was playing around with, and I wanted to see how the glazes would work over top of the gloss sprays. So I just sprayed white down through a stencil. It was just a random stencil. It's the first one I touched. I wish that I had used a different color than white because you can't really see it on the camera. Cheddar, probably. Sure you guys didn't see that coming. Anyway, that's dried, and I know that because earlier you just saw me sticking my finger in it. And I stamped right over top of the gloss spray through the stencil. Again with the stays on because that's what I know. Stick with what I know. So I gave that a couple seconds to kind of set, and then I decided to be a little brave this time around, and I'm still using the embossing pad because I can't get that frickin' dauber to work, and I don't know why, but it's really frustrating. Anyway, I decided to be a little brave, and I used broken china this time. I wanted something with a little bit more pop of color. I was like, oh well, if it doesn't work, it's just a tag, and I'll just cut this part out, and you guys will never know. Anyway, so the broken china, I think, is one of his prettiest colors. Probably that and picked raspberry, I think, and fossilized amber. That's like the power color combo for me with him. Anyway, the glaze, here it is all embossed and everything, and you can see I still missed some spots. That's what those white places were. I actually went in and rubbed them off with my finger. The glaze looks beautiful. I went right in with her scribble stick and lemon from her first set, and I just liked the way that the scribble stick laid so much on the tag. I didn't even bother trying to smudge it. It's just pretty. I liked it. That's the stamp set from, God, I can't ever think of the names. Just check the description box below. They'll be there. Again, user error with the stamps. I just didn't get a good stamped impression, but I still liked it because I kind of thought it went with the whole distressed look of the tag, especially because I smeared it with my finger. So here's the finished products with the screenshots. That one's okay. I think I could probably play around with it and get a better impression. That I think is my favorite, and it's because of the quadrants, so I will definitely lay down more color next time. That one turned out really well too, and it's because of how bright that glaze is with the lemon. So tag number 2 and tag number 3 are my favorite. Alright guys, as always, thank you so much, and I will see you next time.